Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's practice, which is working with complex or difficult emotions with Name It to Tame It. And this is a really helpful practice for helping you to be able to turn down the volume of the intensity of your emotions when you're in the midst of that experience. So I'll give you a little bit of context first, and then I'll guide you in about a 10-minute practice where we're practicing working with that. And I'll put the timestamps for that in the description below. So the Name It to Tame It practice in the Buddhist-centered mindfulness community or philosophy is that you can't transform something about your mind unless you are aware of it. So you have to be able to name it in order to transform it into a different quality, a different tone. And then in psychology, in self regulation, that same practice is called affect labeling. Affect being your general emotional state, your mood, your expression of how you are feeling. And guess what? It works. So there's lots of research that shows that this practice actually lights up areas of your prefrontal cortex, which is your control center that helps to make sure everything else is going on, and especially when you are in control, when you are making the decisions. So isn't that interesting? And at the same time, amygdala activity goes down. So the part of our neurophysiology that is responsible for fight, flight, fear, danger, that gets turned down at the same time. So this is a fantastic practice to practice so that you can do it in the moment. And also, a quick note, this is not to suppress your feelings. This is so that you have the foot on the gas of when you want to fully feel your feelings. It may not be the best situation and you want to just turn down the intensity. And then that can give you time and space so you can choose when you would like to fully feel and go into all of your feelings. The other benefit of this practice is that it can really open up curiosity. And once you have that quality of observing, as you are becoming the observer by naming your emotions instead of the experiencer, that process is called decentering in psychology. And in the Buddhist centric philosophy, it's having the witness, being able to mindfully witness what is going on. And you can see the nuances of emotional situations. There's so many layers. So do not be surprised in this practice or whenever you practice if those layers come up. That is just what happens because guess what? Being human is complex, but that curiosity, when we can see those layers, it gives us a lot to really learn about ourselves and to work with to transform. So it's pretty magical. Okay, so thank you for coming to my mini TED Talk. So now, to begin the practice, I invite you to take a comfortable seat. And you can close your eyes or you can leave them open if that is more comfortable. This is your choice for your practice today. And if you are currently feeling some kind of a way, I invite you to use whatever you're feeling for this practice. If you're feeling a little closer to your baseline, I invite you to recall something that was a little sticky. But here's a rule for either situation, and this goes for any kind of working with emotions, thoughts, process. When you are learning a tool, you want to start with something that is maybe on a scale of 1 being puppies and rainbows and 10 being dumpster fire trauma, like a 3 at most, like annoying, like an annoying neighbor or coworker, okay? Because your brain is going to be like, uh, no, no. We are never doing that again if it's really intense and uncomfortable. But if it's a little uncomfortable and you make that uncomfortableness more comfortable, super technical terms there, guess what? Your brain is going to be like, oh, what? What? That worked. Let's try that again. So I guess I wasn't quite done with my talk. There was a little bonus. Now that you know that, this goes for any practice that you're learning. Okay, let's just take a moment here to be with the breath for a couple breath cycles. No need to rush into diving in. Been warming up with some of the context. So in case you're like, ooh, how's this gonna go? Let's just be with the breath for a few breaths. No need to change anything about it. Just noticing chest rising and falling, noticing sensations as you breathe. Just being with the breath. Okay. So now I invite you to call to mind that sticky situation, or maybe you're in it already, and simply label the emotions that you are experiencing. I invite you to start with the most obvious one, and then as we label, as we name it to tame it, will be layers, and we can work with the layers as they come up. That's what this tool is for. Okay. Getting specific as possible. Going more specific than mad or sad. Are you feeling frustration? Are you feeling overwhelm? Are you feeling upsets? Or are you feeling unseen? Getting specific. Are you feeling a sadness, or are you feeling a longing for something? Getting as specific as possible. And as this happens, I invite you to notice any accompanying physical sensations, if any, and to notice how those might shift as you go through this process. An optional layer of practice, if you will. Being with those physical sensations as well is super important for being with discomfort, building up our resilience. Being with, naming, maybe a new layer has popped up. That's what always happens for me after that or under that obvious layer. There's something deeper. And it's usually a deep place of something I'm really passionate about or compassionate about. A deep desire for something, connection, expression, belonging. Just continuing to name all of those layers as they pop up. And it might also be helpful as you engage in this practice to imagine your body, your thoughts, your feelings as a huge cloud. And as these sensations and thoughts pop up as we work through these layers, to say, this too is here, and seeing that cloud of who we are being vast. There's room for everything here. No need to shove anyone away. Welcoming and entertaining them all, like Rumi says in his guest house poem. Oh, oh, despair is here too. There is room for you. Maybe it's grief. This too, this too. Imagining that expansion of the field of who we are, the cloud of who we are. There's room for this too here. Maybe another layer has popped up, or maybe you're noticing a shift and feeling more settled, more grounded, less intense, more open, more curious, less tunnel vision on your difficult emotions. That's wonderful. So you can keep this practice up for a few more breath cycles. And anytime your mind wanders away, that is just what minds do. And you can bring it back like a puppy or a baby that scampered away from you, back to that process of naming all the different layers of emotion in your experience. And maybe noticing those accompanying physical sensations as well. Adding that, this too, this too. It can even help to add a gesture. Oh, this too, this too. In your heart and your torso, anywhere. Welcoming it. There is room for it all. As complex human beings, we're built with the capacity to hold it all. A couple more breath cycles, just naming whatever's arising. Bringing that scampering mind back. If it crawls away, that's okay. Now, as we wrap up this practice, I invite you to gently blink your eyes open, bringing light into them if they were closed. And it might feel nice to do a little movement, maybe a little neck roll, maybe shoulder shrug. Oh, yeah, whatever your body's asking for. Maybe a nice sigh to close out your little practice. And there you have it, friends. Name it to tame it. I do hope that this has been helpful for you and that you practice it a little bit so that you can build up those neural pathways to be able to put it to use when you need it in the heat of the moment in the wild. And thank you so much for practicing with me. And also, if you would like to experience more of a class situation with me, I did just do a live stream on New Year's Day for Embodied Intention Setting. So in that class, we have a little arriving practice, deepening the mind-body connection, and then I guide you through the process of setting intentions with that component of the felt sense. It's very cool, and I am really excited about how it went. So do check that out if that's something you're interested in. And you can take embodied intention setting into so many areas of your life, not just to shore up your intentions that you've come up with for the new year, but you can bring it to relationships that you're working on, your own healing journeys. It's a wonderful practice to bring in. So do check that one out. And I do have a little weekly newsletter that I send out with a little bit more context and insight from my personal practice. If you are interested in that, the link to sign up is below. And that's it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Until next time.